Monday, July 23rd, 12:10 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Watchman's Report. It's a video that we do once a week, generally on Sundays. This week, we changed it to Monday. We take a look at the current events that are underway as we do the video. We take a look back at the previous week, and we kind of peek ahead into the future of possible weather scenarios. Let's go ahead and get started as we're going to begin this video in the solar system. 12 new moons of Jupiter have been discovered. Article dated July 17th, 2018. We've been monitoring Jupiter for many years, well over 20. How did we miss 12 moons? Are they legitimately new members of the Jovian family, or are they ones that we just simply didn't see? That's my question. So, interesting article here. I'll post below in the description box, but either way, 12 new moons of Jupiter have recently been discovered. We're 4 days into this unique planetary arrangement. This is the app that I use. There's several to choose from. This one I've used for many years. It's called Cosmographia, and you can get this at the App Store. And as you can see, this is the current position of all of the planets, and we've been waiting on Venus to cross this line between Jupiter and the Sun, and it has. We're 4 days into this unique planetary arrangement where all of the planets are sharing one side of the Sun. We'll be like this for a period of nearly 7 weeks to the first week of September, when Mercury will come around the bend and bring us out of this unique planetary arrangement. But in the meantime, we'll just keep an eye on the weather, different things around the world, and see what happens, if anything. Historically, one thing I did notice, a common denominator when we have been in this unique planetary arrangement, which has only been 6 times in 120 years, volcanic activity on Earth increased exponentially. Now we're going to take a look at the weather and what's currently going on viewing the United States from the GOES 16 instrument. And this is a look at a large tropical storm that's being driven by a very deep, this is a low pressure here, that's dipping way down into the Gulf of Mexico, which is kind of unusual for this time of year. But nevertheless, it's driving up tropical moisture up the eastern seaboard. Has been for a few days, and it's going to continue. And what we've got going on, this is the way I see it. This dust is kind of putting a lid on any tropical storms that could possibly form out in the Atlantic. I know typically the Atlantic doesn't necessarily get busy, so to speak, until later in the hurricane season, which extends from June to November. I'm well aware of the hurricane season, but the thing of it is, this tropical moisture is going to find a way, it looks like, to get inland up north. And you can see it's squeezing between these bands of dust. You have a big collection of dust here that extends up into Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'd like to thank our friend Shane of Unbiased and On the Fence. This is a webcam, a sky cam that he put up a video a couple of days ago, actually on the 19th. Our first day of the unique planetary arrangement. What he noticed from Tulsa, Oklahoma was dust particulates, sand from the Sahara. And according to Null School, it is showing us exactly that. Extending up from the Gulf of Mexico into Texas, it's even going across Florida today. This is today. Central America is getting a lot of dust right now, even South America. This, what it does, it creates low wind shear. Hurricanes, tropical storms in general, do not form or function well with regard to low wind shear. Low wind shear can bring a Cat 5 down to a tropical storm. So it can certainly prevent a storm from even spawning if it can wrestle a Cat 5. So that's what we've got going on here. And as long as this persists, I don't see any major storms with regard to major hurricanes forming or making landfall, which is a good thing, okay? But however, this unusual tropical low, and let me show you another look at it. Here it is right here. This is the low pressure diving way down into the Gulf of Mexico through Mississippi, Alabama. It's creating rain across the state of Florida, especially central Florida, north central Florida. They've had their share of rain. I got a video from Brian in the Florida Panhandle of some extreme lightning that occurred yesterday evening just after dark. In fact, I've got 2 videos of extreme lightning. This is the one from the Florida Panhandle. This was sent in by Brian from Navarre. And what I've done, this is like a 10-minute video. I put it in fast forward. And there were, according to the real-time lightning tab at the website, thousands of lightning strikes yesterday evening. And it continues on into today. This is one video here of several that are out there from last night's lightning that drifted slowly offshore out into the Gulf of Mexico and was there early this morning. In fact, let's take a look and see if it's still there. This is the storm system here, right there actually. And this morning, if you go to the website, click on real-time lightning. And guys, let me explain something about this website. It's about as real-time as you can get. Total you see here, like right now, 45,206. That's in the last 120 minutes. Okay. So just for clarity, I know some people thought that the data was incorrect because their area had not seen any lightning, and the map was showing, indications of lightning in that area. Well, it could have been because it was a couple hours old. But you can see here in the Gulf, this is that lightning storm that I just showed you, and it's slowly being driven by this deep low that you don't normally see low systems like that until the fall. So that's very odd. It looks totally out of place. I'm just saying. So anyway, the lightning now across North America is 34,000 and change. Look for those numbers to go up. The sands of the Sahara, witnessed up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, still persisting, and they are showing no signs of letting up anytime soon. Back to the website real quick. Guys, whenever I feature the website in the report, it's only to show you real-time data. Yes, I promote the website every single day, but that's not my motive when I do it here in the video. It's to show you real-time data, like the seismographs. We look at the seismographs to look at the real-time data, see if there's anything unusual on here. And right now, everything looks, like it normally would if there's a little bit of earthquake activity here and there. I don't see anything that is drastically unusual. The Canary Islands have been vibrating for weeks now. So active, actually it's not necessarily a big volcano, but there's volcanoes out there on the Canaries that look like to me are very alert at the moment. Baja California, this has been like this for several weeks, and it actually got lighter here the other day, and then it went back to this really dark black. So don't know if that's a equipment malfunction or what the deal is there. A little bit of action there in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It must have been something out in the mid-Atlantic ridge, I think. But I did see something in Yellowstone. These seismographs look pretty good. I think that's from a 5.9 that was picked up by graphs around the world. Not sure what we've got going on here in North Carolina. That's odd. Okay, the graphs, to me, they look pretty normal. Let's go to Yellowstone. We've been watching this for the last few weeks. Look at that. Mammoth. Very unusual. And these are the things that we've been looking for. Something large like that across every platform here that's monitoring the caldera of the supervolcano. And we have, this is less than 24 hours old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's very unusual. Not sure what we've got going on there. I don't know exactly how to interpret that. But it's showing up at multiple locations. It looks like it began at around 4:30 Universal Time. See if these are the same. That began around, looks like 3:30 Universal Time. Let's look at Little West. This one was around, actually 10:30 Universal Time. This would be Mountain Time, so around 5. So there is some time difference. 3 Mountain Time. That's interesting. I don't know what we've got going on here. But I did hear that the geyser up there, the Steamboat Geyser, has erupted once again. In fact, I've got a story here. Steamboat Geyser keeps erupting. No one knows why. Story dated July 11th, 2018, and it's erupted yet once again. And right now it's erupting at a more frequent pace than it's ever erupted. It has erupted before in the past, but there's been long lags in between. I'm talking several weeks. Now we're down to just a few days, and no one knows why. It's very, very puzzling. So, interesting article here from the YellowstoneInsider.com. Let's go back to, I want to finish up on the weather real quick. Let's see if I can, yeah. Here we go. Those are the seismos. They do show something unusual around Yellowstone. Doesn't seem to be any type of a trend. You've got this one north of the caldera, northeast of the caldera, right on the eastern edge of the caldera, and right in the center just to the right of Old Faithful. So, don't know, guys, how to interpret what we're looking at here, but we are seeing signs of increased activity. Even here recently over at, this is Parker Peak. That's a volcano, or that's a earthquake. That is a definite earthquake. And I think that could be what we have there. Huh. Interesting. Definitely always keeping a close eye on Yellowstone. One thing I want to talk about too with regard to the weather that's moving up the eastern seaboard, and this is tropical moisture. And we all know that tropical storms can deliver a lot of rain. This isn't a textbook tropical storm. However, this is considered tropical moisture, and there's a lot of it being pushed up the eastern seaboard. So look for this to continue, guys, over the next few days. Pay attention to your rivers and your local, of course, your local weather forecast. But these rivers are going to increase. You've already got one here at Harper Tavern, Pennsylvania, that's nearing major flood stage. And this is right now. And if this rain continues, which it looks like it's going to continue this entire week, off and on, sometimes stronger than others, these rivers are going to get higher and higher. So you have some at moderate flood stage already in southeast Pennsylvania. Look at that one. It went up from 2 feet to nearly 10.5 feet in a very short period of time. So they got some heavy downpours in this area, especially around Washington, D.C. Some places were reporting between 5 and 7.9 inches of rain, and it's still raining. So pay very close attention to these rivers. These rivers come out of their banks, can cause some very quick flash flooding. The situation that we saw in Branson, Missouri, which was a very sad situation, and I want to touch on that just briefly. Guys, this situation, I'm not saying that it could have been avoided. It came on very quickly. We talked about it in another video. I showed you the thunderstorm that created the white caps on this lake, it's Table Rock Lake in Branson, Missouri, Lake of the Ozarks. And this is a very sad story. There were life jackets on this vessel that could have made a big difference. I'm not saying that anybody did anything wrong necessarily. The situation got out of hand very quickly with regard to the weather. It did come on very quickly. They're not saying that they weren't warned. They were told earlier that morning that there was a chance of severe thunderstorms for this day. There was a severe thunderstorm warning sent out at 6:30. I don't know if they were already on the lake at the time. I have no idea, but straight line winds are kind of hard to predict if that's what happened. I guess some of these winds got near hurricane force, so they weren't prepared for that. Probably shouldn't have been out there, but again, that's not my call. But one thing I will say for everybody listening to this video, if you're ever on a boat, especially a smaller boat, and the water is above your head, and it doesn't necessarily have to be above your head. I don't care if you're an Olympic gold medalist swimmer. Doesn't matter. You put your life jacket on, and you put your life jacket on your kids. Everybody on this vehicle, this vessel, should have had on a life jacket. there were life jackets aboard this vessel. This is the boat as it was pulled up this morning from Table Rock Lake by the Coast Guard. This is a photo from the Coast Guard. This is the boat. These are the life jackets that were stored up here. And as the boat sank, they kind of came loose and were hanging from the ceiling of the boat. Every passenger, moving forward, if you're on a boat, put it on. And don't take it off until your feet are on dry ground. I promise this would have saved their lives. And you won't regret it. Just do it. So anytime you're on water, put a life jacket on. If you're on a big cruise ship, maybe a different story. Because even a big cruise ship, things can happen. But at least on a big cruise ship, you're going to have a little more time to, get yourself protected and safe from potentially drowning. Know where the life jackets are on a big cruise ship. Know where your safety areas are with regard to flotation devices. Always know where those are at and be ready to use them at any time. And don't hesitate to do it. Don't be embarrassed to wear a life jacket. Like I said, you could be an Olympic gold medalist swimmer. If you're on this water, and let's say you were to get out here and you were an Olympic gold medalist swimmer, what are you going to do against these big strong waves with no life jacket? How long do you think you could take to get to shore? You're going to fight that current? That water is going to win every time. So always wear a life jacket if you're out on water. It's just simply not worth it, guys. Moving on, sad story, and I'm very, very sorry to everyone that was involved in that. Japan records its highest temperature ever. Tokyo, Monday, July 23rd. A community just north of Tokyo recorded a temperature of 106 degrees Fahrenheit Monday afternoon. Unbelievable. Something else that's unbelievable with regard to Japan. Let me show you something here that VentureSky has the models showing right now. And of course, this is subject to change. A week from today, a possible Cat 2, maybe even a Cat 3, just depending, could make landfall in the same area right at Tokyo, and the area that just recorded 106 degree temperature. They've had apocalyptic flooding over here. This is the last thing they need. So hopefully this model will change, but this is Monday the 30th, showing at least a Cat 2, possibly a Cat 3 hurricane making landfall sometime around 2 a.m., which is not a good scenario. We can back it up to the 29th on Sunday. You can see it's offshore as a Cat 3, I think, 123 miles an hour, 125. Maybe that's a strong Cat 2. And then by the same time, Monday, it's making landfall. So hopefully this model will change, and it more than likely will. But right now, it's got this particular system going right at Tokyo. Not good. There's been other hurricanes over in the Pacific. Let's see if I have them up. I'm not sure if I do. Here it is right here. Severe tropical storm Ampul makes landfall near Shanghai. Story dated July 23rd. Tropical storm makes landfall at Vietnam, destroying over 5,000 homes. 30 people perished. And that's not counting the storm that's out there now that I just showed you at VentureSky that could potentially make landfall right there near Tokyo a week from today. But look for that model to change. Usually this far out, they can be accurate this far out, but there are so many variables involved. More than likely this will change, and hopefully it will. Hopefully it'll just keep right on going and not affect anybody. But right now it is showing a landfall near Tokyo. Monsoon rains affect 728,000 people in the Philippines. 5 people perished. And once again, water. This water is very, very strong right now. And I cannot emphasize enough the importance of water safety devices. Even if it's any type of a flotation device, have one ready. Especially if you're near water, or if you live near a river, like we're seeing on the eastern seaboard. We're seeing all of this moisture being driven up from the tropics. Be ready if you're in southeast Pennsylvania for flash flooding. It's more than likely going to happen sometime this week. You've already got rivers at major flood stage, some that are approaching moderate to major. So just be ready, guys, that's all. We've talked about the seismos at Yellowstone. Oh yeah, and I wanted to look at the earthquakes in the area. Don't really see anything that would register on a seismo up here. Some small ones in Oklahoma, but that's not necessarily that uncommon. Small one down here in West Texas, that's kind of uncommon, but not completely unheard of. So yeah, don't know what would cause that activity at the Yellowstone seismos unless it's directly associated with the Yellowstone, or I'm sorry, the Steamboat Geyser. Certainly see that there was something detected on multiple seismos there. Deep low driving a lot of this tropical moisture up, which again, I can't emphasize how unusual that is. That is a very unusual deep low pressure system for this time of year. The sands of the Sahara keep pushing across the Atlantic Ocean and are showing no signs of letting up. Here's the Skycam that picked up this incredible bird that showed up in the camera. This is the webcam right here. I've had many people ask. And this is from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. There are many webcams here that work great. The one you want to look at is the Grand Teton PTZ. That's the one we're at now. And this is the one where this bird just casually flew through the view of the camera. You can see it right here. And multiple screen grabs were taken of the bird as it flew through here. This isn't the exact, let me see if I can find it. There it is right there. I think that's possibly it, right? It's pretty close. But that's the view, and the bird flew through here. But this is the webcam. I'll post a link below if you want to check it out. Little airport there. And all of these cameras work really well. I will say I've checked all of them out. They work really good. Can't guarantee any... Yeah, here it is right here. Let me stop that. That's the area right there. That was in the background, and the bird flew right through here. So that's it from Wyoming. Beautiful bird. And as you can see right now, the winds must have picked up. I noticed this earlier, like an hour ago, and this is from about an hour ago. I don't know if that's directly associated with wind or something else, but the camera's shaking. Got to be the wind. There, it looks pretty good. About a few minutes ago, I'm going back right now, is what I'm doing. There you can see something. It's got the camera moving. It's steady again right now. See how it's moving? That was 41 minutes ago. See slight movement there. And normally, like right there, when it stops. It doesn't sit there and bounce. I've never seen it do that. There you go. There's some movement right there from side to side. And you can kind of see the wind blowing this tree right here. So more than likely, we're going to say that's associated to the wind. But if you want to check that out, the link is below. Can't guarantee you any spectacular birds. That was pretty cool. That was shared with us by Shane over at Unbiased and On the Fence. He shared with us the sands from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks again, Shane. Greatly appreciate that. Once again, the hurricane, possibly a Cat 3 landfall Tokyo a week from today. That should change. Something else I wanted to show you. This is another look of the incredible lightning storm from the Gulf. This is around Florida. A lot of rain and lightning across Florida right now. This is near Tampa Bay from WFLA News, Channel 8. And they recorded this from last night as well. This is not too far from my friend Brian, who's over in the Florida Panhandle. So they noticed what Brian noticed last night. Check this out. We're going to take a quick look at the weather, or I'm sorry, the temperatures across the United States, and just comparing some of the areas with the Sahara. They're similar, in fact, if not hotter in the United States. Very hot across where I live. Right out here, you're looking at possible records, I think. I mean, it's always hot out here in the summer. That's not anything unusual, but it's going to be exceptionally hot today, tomorrow. In fact, there you go, 116, according to Venture Sky, sometime later on today in areas of the southwestern desert out here. Not uncommon. Look, in Alaska, 95 degrees today at 4 p.m.? Really? 91? I mean, you're talking near the Arctic Circle. So some sort of a really unusual temperature anomaly right here in this area, over in the Yukon and in north central, I'm sorry, that would be east central Alaska. Looking at that on Google Earth, you can see that that is very near the Arctic Circle at 95 degrees, according to Venture Sky. And that's today. At least a consistent upper 80s for a wide area. That's a pretty good size area. 91, 92, that would be down towards what? Fairbanks? The Alaska Range? Anchorage is down more towards the southern part of Alaska, so I think Fairbanks is up in this area somewhere. I'm not saying that that's exactly where it's at, but it's in this area. And the high temperatures, the 95, 94s, are not too terribly far from the edge of the Arctic Circle. So some sort of a weird temperature anomaly, unless that's normal for this time of year, but you don't see that anywhere else across Canada. You've got some warmer areas over here, north of Montreal, in the mid-80s. Mid-80s over here, north and west of Toronto, but everywhere else, you know, you got very mild temperatures. And then you go way up here, 94, 95 degrees. Look at that, even up here in the Arctic Circle. This is definitely in 87 degrees. There's 90. Look at that. This doesn't look right. But anyway, heat wave persists from western Louisiana through Texas, southern New Mexico, over here into the southeast Phoenix area. It's even warm up into Flagstaff, which 100 degrees, 101 in Flagstaff is pretty hot for this time of year. Even though it's summer, you're up in the elevations at 7,000 feet. So to get that hot, it's kind of unusual for this time of year. Southern California, some areas looking at 119. This is according to Venture Sky later on today around 4 p.m. So possibly record temperatures like they saw earlier today over in Japan. The highest temperature ever recorded, a 106 from Japan. That was today. Pretty incredible. Here at the website, MrMBB333.com, you can find link below in the description box. All of the data you see here through the center is real-time. The daily report, that's the newsroom. News articles are updated at least once a day, sometimes multiple times a day. You can also find a scientific white paper flying through the newsroom every once in a while. Real-time X-ray solar flares. In fact, let's just click on it real quick. Quiet as a church mouse. Not anything happening with regard to solar flares. Geomagnetic K-index should be quiet, and it is. Very quiet. Been like that for many, many weeks. We're in solar minimum. It's going to be like that for quite some time. The Schumann resonance. I have noticed, I'm sure most of you too have noticed, some spikes in the Schumann resonance recently. As we got close to the unique planetary arrangement, things got very, very quiet on the Schumann. Now that we're in it, and we're about 4 days in it, you can see some activity picking back up in the Schumann. So not exactly sure where that's coming from, but it is there. You can find the Schumann resonance right here, and it's always in real-time data. Real-time lightning, the seismographs, geoelectric map, interactive weather map. You can click on that. It takes you to Intellicast.com. Click on the Layers tab, Storm Tracks, top right, and you can see the current storms across the United States. Click the play button down here, and you can see which direction they're headed. And as you can see, all of this moisture is being pushed up the eastern seaboard. And the areas that are receiving the majority of it right now are from the Carolinas up through Virginia, D.C., Pennsylvania, New York, clear up into the upper northeast. New Hampshire, Vermont, all of these places could see a significant amount of rainfall this week. So big heads up for river flooding, flash flooding in those areas. The ionosphere should be very, very quiet. And again, guys, the only reason I'm checking these out is because it's real time. It's not like we're looking at the same thing every week. Every time you come to the website, this data is different. It's in real time, so it changes all the time. So every time you come to the website, the data is new. Volcanism, Hawaii, things are still very active with regard to the Kilauea eruption. And you can see some new additions to the Global Volcanic Report here at the website. Click on this tab here, New Global Volcanism. That's a very good detailed report from the Smithsonian. I think you guys will like that. A lot of other tabs here at the website that you can check out as well. Astrophotography, Earth Goes East, where you can look at the Earth in color, and you can see this big dust cloud as it's moving across the Atlantic, occupying the entire Caribbean pretty much, making its way up into the Gulf of Mexico, into, as we saw, Tulsa, Oklahoma back on the 19th. And I'm sure there's still some there and through Texas and Oklahoma. But it looks like to me this is starting to swing to the north. So big event, much like the one that we're seeing on Mars right now, that they say could last until September, the event on Mars. So we'll see how long it lasts here on Earth, but we're definitely monitoring it every day. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.